If you ask me, what's my favorite feature in Python? It's f-strings. If you don't know what f-strings are in Python, you're listening to the right talk. By the end of this video, you will know a lot more and you'll be able to start using f-strings like an expert. If you're already using f-strings, that's great. But did you know that there are more to f-strings than simply sticking variables inside curly braces and adding f in front of a string? Stay around so you can learn more. In Python, f-strings is a way to format strings, and you can start using f-strings in Python 3.6. Say, you're writing a script for sending emails and the content of your emails are all the same, but you want each of the email to be addressed to different people. You can do this kind of formatting using f-strings. For example, I could define a variable name, which could be the name of all the different people who I want to send the emails to. Then I would have another string as a template, and on this template, I would put an f in front of it. And inside this string, the part where I want to replace the name variable, I would put that variable and put a curly braces around it. So, when I print this template string, I would get the string with the name replaced accordingly. So that's a quick example on how f-strings work and how string formatting works in Python. So there are two parts of an f-string. Well, three if you count the f itself. F-string contains something called an expression. So basically, the thing inside the curly braces, the variable, this is called an expression. And everything else, that the things outside of the curly braces, the part of the string that is not a variable, that is called the literal. In my earlier example just now, I used a rather simple data type as the variable. Basically, I showed you an example how to put a string inside another string. So it looks more like combining strings together. So it's really basic examples. So now I wanted to show you some more interesting examples for using f-strings. For example, if you have a dictionary, you can pass the dictionary keys as f-string expression. You can also pass in objects or functions or methods. You can actually put in all kinds of data types into the curly braces. Now here's an interesting part about f-strings. Some data types in Python has a very special superpower when used in f-strings. For example, the datetime object. Sometimes you wanna display your datetime objects in specific format, like the month, year, day, as a string. Before f-strings, you might be using something like the datetime stirftime function to do that. And when you use the stirftime function, you would need to pass in the datetime format like %d, %m, or something like that. And after f-strings, you might be tempted to just put that whole thing as an expression inside the curly braces. That will work too, but there's an even better way to do this. So instead of using the stirftime function inside the expression, add a colon and then the datetime format. And this is how you would do it with f-strings. So what is this magic? This is one of the lesser known feature in f-strings in my opinion. This is called format specifiers. And you can read more about it in the documentation for format specification mini language. And you can do this with numbers. For example, you can use f-strings to format floats and decimals. You can use it to round numbers or to display percentage value. You can also use format specifiers to pad strings. So there are a lot of interesting uses of this. So check out the documentation for format specification mini language. I know you all are debugging your Python code by using prints. I hope you're also doing interactive debugging using breakpoints. But there's nothing wrong with using print functions to debug your code. We all do it, I do it, and f-strings can help you with that. So, when you're printing and debugging, sometimes you wanted to know in your string, like you want to know the value of the variable, but you also want to know which variable was that was being printed. F-strings comes with something called debug mode. All you need to do is add an equal sign to the expression, and then it will print out both the expression and the value. And you can only do this if you have Python 3.8 or newer. Python 3.12 was just released in October 2023. There are new capabilities in f-strings in Python 3.12 that weren't possible before, so don't miss out on those. Let me share you some of the new features there. You can now reuse the single and double quotes within f-strings. Before Python 3.12, you can use the same style of quote inside the expression of the f-strings. For example, before, if you must do something like this, like if you opened your f-string with a double quote, then inside of the expression, you must use a single quote. Starting in Python 3.12, you can reuse the same quote style inside f-strings. So you can keep a consistent style and not having to mix things up. Before Python 3.12, you'd get a rather generic and cryptic error messages if you have errors when using f-strings. In Python 3.12, the error message will be more descriptive, so it will be more useful to you. It can help you with debugging errors with f-strings. You can now have nested f-strings in Python 3.12. Though I haven't personally found the need for it, but you should know that this is possible. If you do end up using this, let me know. I'd like to see what you do with this. Comments are now allowed inside f-strings expressions. This is another new thing that just wasn't allowed before. You get an error if you try to pass in the hash symbol in f-strings expression. But this is now possible in Python 3.12. But pay attention, you must do this as a multi-line expression, and your closing bracket must go to the next line. And the reason that it must go to the next line is that anything after the hash sign in the expression will be treated as a comment and will be ignored, even if it contains the closing bracket. Here's a fun, interesting trivia for you. You can use uppercase F in f-strings just for fun. I don't know why you want to do it, but it's fun. It's completely valid to use uppercase F in f-strings. So now you know. I hope you learn a lot about f-strings in Python now. My name is Mariatta. Thank you for watching.